Thank you. Okay, everybody. It's nice to have everybody here this morning. Good morning. I'm sure we'll leave up further. Sorry, I am not that short. Alright, in terms of what we've heard this morning, sorry, that description is really long. I'm not really that smart, but we'll see what we can do in terms of education for this morning. What I have is, let's increase. As our program director says, let's increase our knowledge of today. And I've also got a magic pen with me today. The moment I choose that, the slide will change. So let's see where we go from here. Thank you very much for the opportunity, I must say. I'm honored to be here and to speak about these issues that we have in this industry that I am. I do have a passion for it, that's why I've been doing it for so long. As you can see, first I've been asked. This is going to be much easier like that. Good. Can you do the next slide for me, please? Then another one. Basically, I've been asked a question. The question relates to what are the key issues and challenges as to why immigrants go to immigration lawyers or registered practitioners for assistance? I have to answer this factually and truthfully. Now, when I say a registered immigration practitioner, currently in South Africa there's only one institution that you can belong to be considered as registered and professional, and that's called FIPSA. That is the Forum for Immigration Practitioners South Africa. Now, we are the only place or forum that is registered with SACWA, which means that we are credible and we're not your normal fly-by-night or these road agents that develop the problems that I'm sure Home Affairs also had an issue with. If we go back to slide, back, one forward. One more. It's not the slide. It's not there. Right. Basically, I would like to say, in the past, before 2nd of June 2014, it was a common thing for Home Affairs staff to be unsupportive in terms of consulting with migrants and asking requirements and questions like that. That is the experience that we had, as we also used to work there and do submissions. Many times wrong information was handed out to the applicants by the counter. Extortion and bribery and those kind of things did happen back in the day. In terms of that, the rogue agents would normally stay there and do these scrupulous operations. Home Affairs found it good at that point to institute VFS, which is the Visa Facilitation Center, all right, to help and alleviate that problem. To date, I do think, yes, they've done well with that. What also happened was, in terms of the question, why do immigrants still go to practitioners like myself or lawyers, is that VFS is not a consultant agency. They only provide a courier service. So whenever you would ask a question, so this industry will not be able to reply to that, unfortunately. That's part of the reason why we're here. Also, a big point is that VFS is not at power. The minister cannot delegate to a third party to do the work that the minister or the Home Affairs has to do. People come to us as professionals to gain understanding for specific immigration scenarios. For example, for work visas, study visas, combinations of spousal visas, business visas. That's the main point for us to be there. On this slide you can see people seek advice now to apply for certain visas to get it through as successful as possibly. That is the point of that. To seek help and change, and also to seek advice whether the person would qualify for a certain type of visa. This is an important point because it's not to say if you apply for any state visa that you'll get it. You have to make sure that people qualify therefore or give an alternative to that. Next slide, please. Right. All right, now to get to the correct information and to get trusted qualification, there's it. Now, the next question that was asked, I need to answer in terms of the question is, what role does immigration lawyers and registered practitioners play in assisting immigrants to meet the immigration requirements? Now, firstly, as you can see, we analyze the situation holistically, because you have to look at all angles and all positions before you can advise to anybody. We have to identify the needs properly, and we need to advise on various directions where you can go, because you'll find the conditions where people will qualify in various different types of visas, not just one, and different scenarios can be at play. If documents are lacking, we inform how to source the same documents and assisting to source the new documents legally. All right, next slide. Alright, I'll just go on this catch up. Okay, when specific set of requirements are needed, for example, undertaking letters, cohabitation letters, contracts, qualifications, verifications, business plans, all these type of documents, we assist in actually getting these documents as a professional. We have networks of paralegals, runners, people that are trusted in a network, that are professionals, to make sure that these documents are obtained and are done properly. All right, to make sure these people get at hand. A further analogy of using an immigration practitioner would be that of a dentist. The question would ask, why do you go to a dentist? Normally, if you want to extract a tooth or sort out an infection or something, you can do it yourself, but people do that, go to a professional for peace of mind. You do that because you want to make sure that whatever you're doing to the situation doesn't worsen it, and you're looking for a solid answer or a solid relief. In terms of immigration law, and for us practicing, we do the same thing. We've done these visas hundreds and thousands of times over and over. Migrants use our skills to make sure that for the first time they get it sorted out properly, instead of running a circle or getting a rejection and getting problems. That's basically the basis for what we do and what we are. Now, the question that was also posed to me is, what are the roles and responsibilities of immigrants, and what are the roles and responsibilities of the state, respectively? Now, in this answer, as an immigrant, you have to follow responsibilities, or these responsibilities in general. You need to identify yourself at all times with valid documents. You need to prove that you're not illegal immigrant at all times. You need to prove that you're not an undesirable person. You need to prove that you're taking up activities in a specified field or a specified condition as per your visa only. You need to prove that you have residence that you're living at, and if you have a child or child's traveling with you, you must make sure to prove that you're the legal parent. That's some of the responsibilities. You also need to prove if you're in a yellow fever area that you have those papers of clearance, medical and radiological documents you have to carry with you or produce when requested. Prove financial means where applicable. You have to obey the country's laws at all times and remain accessible to authorities. Now, these are the basic requirements that you as a migrant need, and also you should show at all times. In the inverse in that, the country has its own, the country or state with our own constitution that is bound to national human rights and conventions. The following applies amongst others, which is very important. The country has the mandate to provide to you as a migrant and any South African the right to equality, the right to human dignity, the right to life, the right of freedom and security, and the right not to be in slavery, servitude, or forced labor. The right not to be detained indefinitely, and the responsibility to prove or provide refuge for any asylum seeker that enters the country. As per United Nations High Commission of Refugees, Convention from 1951 pertaining to determining the status of refugees. The right to non-refoulement is also a very important thing that has to stay relevant. It falls under Article 33 of the 1951 Convention. I would like to read that to you. No contracting state shall expel or refoul any manner whatsoever to the frontiers of terrorists where is life or freedom of the threatened on the account of race, religion, nationality, membership of a particular social group or political opinion. Now, as basically as it stands, non-refoulement is an important part, because if you are found persecuted in any other country or state, to actually deport you and expel you is against the law. It's a human rights convention contradiction, and it should not happen. If you have found the refugee is rejected, there is an appeal process that should be followed. It should not be expelled or sent back to your home country by default. I feel that should be looked at in general. The next question that was posed to me: what is the impact of the new immigration laws to immigrants with various status scenarios living in South Africa? Now, granted, there are a couple of good things that did happen that come out of the new regulations, but unfortunately, with change, problems will also occur. Now, the biggest impact and the severity was the difficulty between movement between one visa to another, and actually to obtain visas in South Africa. The negative effect was less visitors to South Africa, which did happen, especially in the tourist sector. It's a lot less visitors, a lot less people, especially if you had children, because with the full unbreached birth certificate problem that happened. It took a year, but the government has relaxed in the requirements, and since then we did see a high influx of visitors in South Africa. We also had less foreign investment into South Africa. We had less skilled migrants in South Africa and less students studying in South Africa. And these all are confirmed by Stats SA. It's a fact. That's why I'm bringing this through to you. Now, I'm going briefly through. You can change the slides, a couple of more to get to the next ones we go along. I'm going to get to just very, very briefly through to the different visas and the issues that concern. Basically, on a visitor's visa, when you're going through different, if you're a European and you're going to South Africa, you don't get your 30 days. If you do go out and back and do the whole border hopping thing, you only get 7 days at a time, no longer the full length. If you're in South Africa on a visitor's visa, you want to change to a spousal visa or a work visa or business visa, you're not allowed to. You need to change from outside South Africa. Luckily, there was a precedent set with the Stewart court case versus Home Affairs, and you can now change from visitor's visa to a Section 11 or any Section 11 visitor's visa, as long as you're a dependent of the South African citizen or work visa holder. That has changed. Also, the life partner changes there. You have to be 2 years now in relationship before that counts to get a life partner visa. Study visas, a lot of educational institutions were used or could be used to get a study visa. With the new changes, the institution has to be with the Department of Higher Education, registered with them, or it does not count to apply for a study visa. With business visas, there was a change in terms of the Department of Trade and Industry was now being used. Utilizing this recommendation letter poses problems because the main issue is that your recommendation has to be done first, then you apply for the visa. You don't have the right to look at the recommendation beforehand. The file gets adjudicated, and afterwards you get told that no, your recommendation was negative. So it kind of defies the reason to apply for the visa if you don't qualify in the first place, which we took up with DTI, and we're still waiting to get an answer on that. would like to jump through to the work visas or the critical skills visas. A lot of these professional bodies currently don't have a mandate, or you can't give you the required documentation to get a critical skill. I think it was lack of prior notice from the Department of Home Affairs side. Since then, a couple of directors has come out to rectify the issue, but it's still a big nightmare to get those documents done. The General Work Visa has also been amended in terms of the Department of Labour has now to give a recommendation letter as well to say that this person, based on the job spec, actually can continue to work there. Now, in terms of that, the recommendation is also a nightmare to get. The requirements are very steep. There's a lot of order that goes in there, and to date, I haven't met anybody that actually got a positive recommendation. It's just a bit of a nightmare. We understand why the Home Affairs got so strict on this. Is basically that they would like to force local workers to take up employment instead of foreigners to take up employment, which we do understand to a degree, but as for the stats that I've provided to you, from January 2014, unemployment was at 24.1. As of current date, it's up to 26.7. There's been no drop in unemployment, unfortunately. On the last slide, if you can go for me, please. Intra-company transfers, very good. It was now a 4-year lead time instead of 2 years. The validity can stay. And on the note of the asylum seeker, just before I close off, in 2008, court order was handed down by Home Affairs stating that asylum seekers, while awaiting refugee decision, may apply for temporary visas in South Africa. This was communicated to the Home Affairs staff members, and a directive was put in place based on the Bowen court order. Now, I say court order happened back in 2008. In March of this year, the Director General of Home Affairs recalled the same directives without a High Court recalling the same. Currently, the case has processed in the court and await the outcome thereof. My final words that I'd like to say in terms of being a practitioner in South Africa, it's true, as my colleagues have said, it's not all bad. It's still a brilliant country, it's still good to be here. Change is busy. I love meeting people and getting good stories about their experiences in South Africa. Change is upon us, and we should stay positive and work together. Thank you.